Hey everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Thursday, August 15, 2019, and yeah, we have to talk. Some of the rhetoric right now is so, frankly, off the Richter scale, retarded, that we need to put a little more light on it. Let's start off with the basics. As I am doing this video blog, stocks are all over the place. I mean, trading has been going on now for less than half of an hour. The Dow Jones Industrial Average started off with a triple-digit gain. No surprise, after an 800-point drop in the Dow yesterday, you would expect a little bounce. But what happened quickly, that went negative. So again, triple-digit gain, stocks went negative, and now we just popped slightly into the positive again. A lot of volatility in this market, which you would expect after an epic sell-off like yesterday, but nothing. As a matter of fact, I was just going to say nothing has changed, but actually things have changed for the worse. And we need to, again, put this into its proper light and not the twisting garbage being fist-fed to everyone by the mainstream financial channels. And of course, the administration, too, and the president himself. And I want to cover some of this because it's revolting. And it makes me want to vomit. It really does. They really think we're stupid. And I can promise you, you're not stupid, and I'm not stupid. So here we go. Yield curve, there's almost nothing left to say here. Last night, the 30-year did drop below 2%. It's historic. No one would have ever believed that this would have happened in our strong economy. You remember all the talking heads? Oh no, we're never going to get a 210 inversion. They wouldn't even mention the 30-year dropping below 2% because our economy is so strong. Can never happen. Well, guess what? Duh. It's in your face. It is happening. Again, you got to laugh when you see these very nice people paraded out on the mainstream channels trying to tell you, trying to blow sunshine straight up your crack in an environment that is melting down around you. Now let's talk more about that. What did we find out today? Industrial production here in the United States again dropped. Proof positive yet again, our economy is in free fall, but we're still being told by certain individuals, individuals, that our economy is as strong as it's ever been, and this is it, and we're taking over the world. It's such a joke. So let's talk about this, people. This is not a trade war. This is economic warfare. And do you know who the soldiers are on the front line? You are. And I'm going to prove that to you here. So we understand what happened recently. The president made concessions to China. Pushed off tariffs, but China is now threatening to retaliate. Now, how does that work? Look, retaliate. You expect to hear words like that in warfare. Now, understand this is about to get much worse. There is no doubt about it. This tit-for-tat thing, back and forth action. Look, just to prove to you that the president himself understands that this trade war is damaging the U.S. economy, he came out and admitted he pushed off the tariffs because he doesn't want the consumer to get hurt during the holidays. But meanwhile, he said, hold on a minute. He said that China was paying the tariffs and those costs were not being passed on to you. So you're being lied to on an epic scale. Now let's talk about more of this absolute off the Richter scale rhetoric. The president continues to go off the deep end. He's unhinged, completely unhinged with regard to the Federal Reserve, demanding over and over that the Federal Reserve cut rates deeper, 1% across the board, asking for the Fed to, again, push more easy money into this market, vastly expanding the debt, because that's all he knows how to do. Now, understand, the president And, I'm going to say it again. I didn't think he was that stupid, but I'm starting to believe he's actually a mental midget on an unbelievable scale, because he, again, thinks you're a mental midget. And the person that thinks they're the smartest in the room is usually the most stupid of them all. He wants you to believe that, and he's said this repeatedly over the past yesterday since the market dropped. Oh no, it's not China, it's not the China economic warfare going on. It's the Fed that's causing the problem. He's stuck in this feedback loop, like I explained to you yesterday. And I can promise you, unless the president really is that stupid, he should know that this feedback loop is going to perpetuate an inflation of a massive bubble, even worse than we have now in the debt market, and the stock market, no matter what he tries to do, is going to fall at one particular time. I mean, the world is laughing at the president, because anybody here with one functioning brain cell understands that the president's economic policy right now, calling for more easy money from the Fed, calling for more rate cuts, is the policy of a brain-dead individual. Brain dead. Every single world leader right now is brain dead. They're all stuck in that loop, like I explained to you, fueling a debt crisis with more debt. It's an incredible thing that not one world leader has the smarts or the know-how to say, hold on a minute. No, this is not how it's supposed to work. Someone's got to take the opposite side of that trade, and it is not going to be the president who has gone off the deep end, unhinged, off the Richter scale, calling for more debt, calling for rate cuts. Now understand, I'll go over it again how this works. So here is the federal funds rate. Here's the long end of the curve, the 30-year, which again just dropped below 2%. Like I explained to you, since time immemorial, the president, no one can stop the long end of the curve from dropping. So the president wants to take the federal funds rate and drop it, so the long end of the curve will stay higher than the short end, like it's supposed to do. It's not going to work. I don't care how much the president asks the Federal Reserve to drop the federal funds rate. He can do it any amount. It will not prevent the inevitable fuller inversion of the 30-year to drop. So let's see. We're here now where we have an inverted curve. This is the federal funds rate, and this is the 30-year. This is what we look like. It's an angle like this. So the president is calling for a cut in the federal funds rate. So I don't know what he's hoping to achieve here. The yield curve might flatten out, but then what's going to happen? 30-year, it's going to drop. The 10-year is going to drop further. Oh, guess what, everyone? President's going to scream from rooftops again. We need to cut rates again. Boom, again. Now we're negative. Then drop again. Oh, guess what? We got to drop rates again. Boom. Now, it's incredible. It's a destructive feedback loop. And the president and every single world leader cannot break themselves out of it. And do you know why? Because they're feeding their central bank deliberately. This is a deliberate act. Understand? They are forcing and want their central banks to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. This is the main goal. The pinnacle of what world central banks want. The private banks that own central banks are gleeful can be, as a world leader is calling for more debt acquisition on an unbelievable scale. Believe me, the central banks want to comply, despite the good cop, bad cop nonsense game that they're playing on you. You're a pawn. You are a pawn. And people better start speaking out, because I can promise you, we are marching into a worst case scenario unlike you can possibly imagine. The more debt that these central banks issue, again, the stronger they become, the more powerful they become. Where does that power come from? It gets sucked from you. It gets taken from the people. I mean, my God, we need a president that wants to save our country. And again, it's really nobody right now. It's none of these Democratic presidential hopefuls. They don't have a clue as to what's going on here. Honestly, they're stuck in this social program mentality, which isn't going to matter this much when we face a worst case scenario that's coming down the pike. They are brain dead as well, every single one of them. And the president is the king of the brain dead right now, because he's got the main seat in the White House, and he's calling for more fuel to an economic crisis that we are in. We are in an economic crisis. We are in economic free fall. And we are in a debt crisis that you cannot believe. But that's the only thing he knows what to do right now. It's unbelievable. And I don't know what to say. Look, I know I'm getting upset here, but I cannot believe that not just the President of the United States, but world leaders are either so stupid that they're playing this game against the people, or they're being told to do so by world central banks. Okay, we're going to play good cop, bad cop, but believe me, you're going to get your way. So just maintain the act, okay? You know, the president is an actor. He did have a lot of shows. This is an act, and you are being used on an incredible scale. And mark my words right here and right now, deep rate cuts are coming. The Fed wants this, okay? And they're using the president as a pawn to convince you that that's the fix here, people. In order to fix the situation that we have, we are in a full-blown debt crisis. But in order to fix it, we have to add more debt to it. Are you kidding me? What type of brain-dead, mental midget retard would think that this is the right way to handle the situation? And when you have a president like he's doing right now, becoming unhinged, going off the deep end, calling for it, you know, it says a lot about that man, don't you? Look, the man is bought and paid for. They all are, okay? And I don't care what comes out of their mouth before they sit in that pretty Oval Office over there. The whole thing changes when they sit there. Believe me, when they sit behind the Resolute desk, that's the moment of realization that things are going to be the way they're being dictated to. That's it, okay? We have a dictatorship here in the United States, and the president is used as a puppet to push the agenda, all right? The agenda of central banks, period. And it disgusts me to the highest possible level that we now have a pawn sitting in the White House who's using you as a pawn in this economic warfare game, this blame game, which is laughable. And anyone that's buying it is brain dead. I'm out of here. See you at the end of the day.